So, what's the latest on the employment-based visa bulletin for India and China in EB-2 and EB-3? Spoiler alert, it's more of the same. No movement in sight. The October bulletin came and went, and here we are, still waiting. It's like when you're at the DMV, staring at that ticket number, wondering if it'll ever change. But let's dive into why this is happening, what it means, and whether we can expect any glimmers of hope on the horizon. So, EB-2 and EB-3 are the employment-based second and third preference categories, which mostly impact skilled workers and professionals. EB-2 typically covers those with advanced degrees or exceptional abilities, while EB-3 is for skilled workers, professionals, and other workers. The demand for these categories has stayed court, and I do mean massive. Imagine waiting for years to hear back from a friend about plans, and then multiply that by 10. Why is there no movement? Now, you may be asking, why exactly is there no movement? Well, the answer lies in the complex, almost mystifying world of immigration policies, quotas, and per-country limits. To put it simply, the US has an annual cap on the number of employment-based green cards. On top of that, there's a per-country limit, meaning no single country can dominate the green card allocations. Sounds fair in theory, right? Well, when you have countries like India and China with huge demand, these limits lead to insanely long wait times. For some folks in EB-2 or EB-3 from India, we're talking decades. Yes, decades of waiting. You could practically be eligible to retire by the time your priority date becomes current. Processing changes and the impact on priority dates. So why no updates in this month's bulletin? Part of it has to do with how visa numbers are processed and distributed. Each year, unused family-sponsored visas get carried over to the employment categories. But with family-sponsored visas being in high demand, the number of rollovers has shrunk. There's also the question of processing capacity at agencies like USCIS. If they're slow on paperwork, priority dates don't move as quickly. Now imagine a game of musical chairs with visas, but every time the music stops, it seems like more chairs have disappeared. That's what it feels like when backlogs grow and fewer visas are available. The hope was that more recent changes, like hiring more staff and upgrading the technology at USCIS, would speed up the process. But so far, the results have been, let's say, underwhelming. What can we expect? It's like waiting for a train that might show up in a week, a year, or a decade. Analysts and immigration experts have been cautiously optimistic that next year's visa numbers might bring some relief. Still, the US immigration system is so complex that any changes tend to move at a snail's pace. If Congress decides to update immigration policies, it might impact priority dates. For now, most experts predict little to no movement for India and China's EB-2 and EB-3 categories in the coming months. So, if you're waiting on a green card, it's probably time to find a hobby. Maybe learn a new language. You could be bilingual or trilingual. The impact of no movement on families and employers. This lack of movement isn't just frustrating. It has real consequences for people. And let's not forget employers. Many of them sponsor talented professionals from overseas who are essential to their operations. With green card backlogs, these workers might have to stay on temporary work visas indefinitely. It's stressful, uncertain, and it affects companies' ability to retain top talent. Alternatives and advice for those affected. So, what can you do if you're stuck in this seemingly endless queue? First, consider your options. Some people are exploring alternative visa options, like the O1 for individuals with extraordinary abilities. There's also the possibility of moving to another country with more streamlined immigration pathways, like Canada or Australia. Sure, the weather may be colder up north, but hey, it might just be warmer than the welcome mat on your US green card. Alright, so if you're one of those waiting in line, hang in there, and maybe pack a lunch because it's going to be a long wait. Remember, you're not alone in this. Thousands of people are right there with you, stuck in this game of green card musical chairs. But until that priority date finally budges, keep looking for ways to stay informed and engaged. Knowledge is power, even if the immigration process feels powerless. If you found this information helpful, or at least relatable, give this video a thumbs up. Make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you're first to know about any updates. And hey, who knows, maybe we'll finally see some movement by then. Or at least we can hope, right? Thanks for tuning in, and here's to hoping the next bulletin finally gives us something to cheer about.